Wonderful. Hi, everyone. Looks like we have about 27 folks. My name is Lori Dembowitz, and I work at UMASS Lowell IT. And I'm so pleased to introduce my colleague, Chris Pilsner from UMass Amherst. And Chris is the Chief Relationship Officer within University Relations at UMass Amherst. So take it away, Chris.
Great. Thank you so much, Lori. I appreciate the introduction. Hi, everybody. So I am in University Relations, which at UMass Amherst is a centralized communication function. I work very closely with my colleagues in IT, and you can see here from my baseball card slide a little bit about how we do CRM at the UMass campus. And I'll just, it goes without saying that, this is a great conference. Love the collegial nature of this. This is a 20-minute segment. I'm going to go as quickly as I can. But of course, if anyone has a question, please go right ahead. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has afterwards. So just a little bit about University of Massachusetts Amherst. For those of you who may not be familiar with it, here's a shot of our big, beautiful flagship campus, about 2 hours west of Boston. And it's an amazing institution. I love working there. I'm also an alum. It's a decentralized campus, like many of the campuses I've been hearing about today and in previous sessions. We have 12 schools and colleges and a lot of different work processes. And thinking a little bit about Salesforce specifically. So we're about 7 years into Salesforce, and the origin story for Salesforce on our campus was within the School of Management, and that's actually where I originally worked when I worked here, and when I worked at UMass Amherst before I moved into this role. And Salesforce was embraced by other programs that are investing in online education recruitment. We also created a second org for human resources. And throughout the entire time we've been working with Salesforce, we have always really leaned into finding those CRM and Salesforce evangelists and change makers on campus. And we had a lot of them in our Student Affairs and Campus Life group, affectionately known as SACL on campus, and some other administrative groups that were starting to really, already working in some of the many enterprise platforms that we have here at campus. Around the end of 2019, 2020, things started to really pick up. And then COVID-19 hit, and our group, which was charged with helping to ensure adoption in CRM across campus, we moved from having meetings saying like, do you know what a CRM is, to how fast can we get that Salesforce thing that you've got? And it really proved as being invaluable for engaging students and really uniting a remote workforce. And it was very easy to convince our campus leadership of the return on investment when we started leveraging Salesforce for tackling some of our biggest challenges of the pandemic, such as testing, vaccines, contact tracing. So, it was a really crazy time for us all, but I think one of the other positive legacies of COVID is how much it helped our leadership understand the importance of the digital experience for our students and how to best engage students across a range of channels. When you don't have students walking across campus and popping in your office, it becomes very real, even to those who were not really thinking about digital engagement. And fortunately for us, we were just about complete with a customer success architect engagement on Marketing Cloud specifically when COVID hit. And we were poised to begin rolling out Marketing Cloud to all of our communicators on campus. Extremely proud to say that within 2 years, by about 2021, 2022, we had universal adoption of Marketing Cloud. And that's really helped us raise the bar for how we communicate with our students via email. And, from a strategic perspective, when it comes to Salesforce, the flexibility of Salesforce CRM was invaluable to help us address a broad range of needs at a truly wild time for us all and all our respective campuses, but certainly for us at UMass. And that was powerful because it helped us expand our base of licensed users beyond just our CRM evangelists that were in online recruitment and in student affairs and campus life. And that was wonderful. But that broad range of use cases and the demands for custom development really, Salesforce is fabulously flexible. I heard in a previous session, it's like, well, what can I do with the Salesforce thing? Well, what can't you do with it? It's very malleable, it's very flexible. But what we found was happening was there was demands for custom development to reinforce individual work processes in specific offices or rebuild a deprecated individual CRM-like system. And that's really becomes unmanageable after a while. And it starts to really defeat the purpose of having a connected campus. So today we've realigned our strategic goals for CRM on campus in these three major areas. Today I'm going to focus largely on how we're tackling a massive student success project here on our campus and how to elevate that student experience. So post-COVID, campus is sold in the value of CRM, and our core team of CRM evangelists in IT and my team in university relations and student affairs and campus life, we really understood the true potential and power of a connected experience. And we've been plotting for some time on how do we really leverage CRM to really elevate that student experience. In 2021, we executed a Spark with Salesforce, and that helped us explore and demonstrate to our senior leadership really what can CRM do. I think it was quite effective to kind of show some of the really neat whistles and bells and demonstrate that for senior leadership who aren't always thinking in terms of CRM or in digital engagement. And we have a PeopleSoft student information system, but our decentralized campus is littered with so many different CRM-like objects, and they serve so many individual student-centered workflows that are fairly disconnected from one another. And that's inefficient, and it's inefficient for our staff. It pains me to see this. And then more importantly, it really hurts our increasingly tech-savvy digital native students. These students have very high expectations for their digital engagement, and we believe that not only are we, letting them down a bit, but we're making them work harder at the business of being a student, and it distracts them from what they really should be doing when they're a student here on campus. So we had a vision, and we're calling that vision Journey UMASS, and that's really about reimagining how we do things on our campus and moving away from a very departmental or specific business unit focused approach to how can I really link this together for a student. And as we look ahead, what our vision for Journey UMASS is really a service and engagement model that helps students take advantage of the opportunities that's directly associated with what they need and what their specific interests and goals are. And this is a very audacious challenge because we need to shift culturally, we need to shift ideologically from a organizationally focused siloed approach to a much more fluid service model. And it's no longer just about what your department does, but it's really about what can we collectively do for all of our students. Now, as we were dreaming big and talking about this vision, in 2023, the news came about Education Cloud. And this is not bad news, this is good news, but it was big news. And we were enthusiastic and excited about what we were hearing about the Education Cloud functionality and seeing how rooted it was in student success, and realized that there's a lot of benefits in being able to capitalize on what Salesforce is innovating in other business verticals like healthcare, financial services. But still, it was a bit of a reckoning moment because up until this point, we've only been doing this since 2017. We thought we were one of the cool kids on EDA. Now we need to think about a whole new data architecture and how do we manage that investment and timing, especially when we're really eager to make Journey UMass a reality. So what we did was we took a two-pronged approach to continue to accelerate our growth on campus, and we worked with a partner, Cloud for Good, who we've worked with for a number of engagements now. But in the end of 2023, we had two scopes of work with them. One was a managed services scope, which kind of helped us clear the backlog. So, since COVID, we wanted to make sure that our early adopters on campus, those folks who were working in a number of different functionalities and were really growing increasingly comfortable and very excited to be using Salesforce, we wanted to make sure that we still were able to add some new features so that they could get the most out of CRM. We really want to keep them happy. We want to make sure that adoption is moving on. But we also needed help to think about the future and what do we need to do to make Journey UMass a reality. And this strategic roadmap is what I'm going to talk about for the next couple of slides, and really working with Cloud for Good helped us figure out a vision for the future. So how can we really align that student experience? How can we start to integrate all of our systems and tools And what would that roadmap look like? What resources do we need to make this happen? And this roadmap that we worked on with Cloud for Good, it was a 3-month engagement, and it was fantastic to have this type of intense discovery period with a outside partner. And we very quickly realized that as comprehensive as this felt, and this was as much as we could do in 3 months, but it still wasn't enough. It gave Cloud for Good enough of a perspective to review our business functions and understand the student experience. But there's certainly a lot of gaps there. Like, there's no schools and colleges that were included in this discovery. It just wasn't feasible. Libraries wasn't there, international programs wasn't there. But we also didn't have time to really dig into discovery with students. But we had a lot of subject matter experts. And what the discovery confirmed, a lot of what we already kind of knew, but it tied it up in a really nice, neat package. It highlighted that we have too many technology systems. One of the things that was a big aha for me was we don't have a common calendar of events. So, today we have, people sending, messages in email. Some people are posting things to our central website. Some people are putting things on Facebook groups. And, again, students are scrambling between so many different systems to try to find what they need to enjoy and take advantage of all that the campus has to offer. The discovery helped highlight the communication overload, but also, again, the beauty of having all of our communicators and all of our communications in Marketing Cloud, we're sending a lot of messages. And we know that from standing up Marketing Cloud, we're up and running with it, but we don't have all those connected systems, so we're not able to necessarily deliver the right message at the right time. And we highlighted for us that although this is not a UMASS problem, it's not a higher ed problem, but it's an email problem. Everything lands in your inbox at the same order of importance. So that message that says, student, you didn't pay your parking ticket, you can't register tomorrow, is right next to, there's an ice cream social for the Glee Club. And again, really taxing their students' executive functioning, trying to find all these messages when we probably need to be a lot more thoughtful and tiered about, this is the message you need to pay attention to now. And certainly those silos that we were all challenged by, frustrating for all of us. We don't have a 360-degree view of our students, but also, again, our students expect us as we're one UMass, and they have higher expectations for how connected we are as a campus. This visual is one of my favorite artifacts from the engagement. This is a capabilities heat map, and it's really very simple. I know it's a little hard for everybody to see, but I'll just talk you through it. That what Cloud for Good built for us here was, on the left-hand column is a list of all the different offices and teams that they met with and conducted discovery with. And on the top row is a list of the tools and platforms that each individual offices use to do their business. And that color coding indicates how much of an impact those tools have on the student experience. And it really lays bare, where are all those inconsistencies? It provides a fantastic visual of how disjointed those individual work processes are that our students have to navigate as they move through campus. But it also, critically and importantly, helped us prioritize our roadmap. And when we, again, this is a lot about how do we factor Education Cloud into this? Well, when we overlaid our kind of current capabilities and kind of look then about the feature set for Education Cloud, it helped us compare and contrast, and helps us clarify where should we go from here and what is our right next step in our technology roadmap. Ultimately, Cloud for Good recommended a phased release approach. So in phase one, address urgent student needs in a way that minimizes technical debt. So we have nearly all communications flowing through Marketing Cloud. So we're going to focus our efforts on improving Marketing Cloud. As just an example, when we brought Marketing Cloud to campus, we launched with a minimal viable product for a subscription center. And it's not going to be able to get us to our vision of right message to right target audience at the right time. But we can tackle that without creating unnecessary technical debt while we consider the move to Education Cloud. So in addition to upgrading Marketing Cloud, we are taking a hard look at what are some of those necessary business processes that we need to address. As I think everybody in this conference here today knows, that no single tech platform can save you from that business process. So we are really starting to wrestle through with what is it going to take to have all of our events promoted and consolidated in a single source of truth. And what is the business process that we need to do? And this is all before we even really think about the technology. Then comes the migration to Education Cloud and standing up Education Cloud. And then lastly, we're focusing on a student portal application so that we can be mobile enabled where students need to be, and start to bring forth that really tiered communications approach that's not everything landing in your email inbox at the same time. And this was an incredibly valuable process. And that work that we did with Cloud for Good over 3 months at the end of 2023, it helped us craft our recommendation to campus leadership. And we had a much more complete proposal that included what are the resources that we need to get here, not just that vision, but this is what we think it's going to take. So this is just a screenshot of the announcement that once that went out from our leadership, and budget and resources, of course, makes the world go round. But what was really important was that endorsement and the mandate that this is about work process and cultural change to really meet the needs of our students. And we have been very busy. This is just a quick screenshot of some of the student research that we've been conducting since the early part of 2024, and thinking through about what is that vision, what features do we need to offer in a portal, what matters most to students so that we can overlay that with a lot of the internal discovery work. So this is very much a story that is continuing to unfold. Very happy to say that, in addition to the great work that we did in these 2 scopes of work with Cloud for Good, we spent nearly 6 months socializing the vision and meeting with many, many, many groups across campus. In addition to the student ethnographic research and to develop a non-working proof of concept for a student portal. We're also identifying KPIs of campus leadership. This is aligned with a new strategic planning process for us. And so much of what we're trying to do at Journey UMASS is directly linked with our new imperatives as a campus. We have also spent a lot of time talking about program governance. What we're trying to do here is breaking silos, and we're running across lines of vice chancelleries. So how are we going to do this in a way that's functional and we all can stay sane and productive? And also, when we did our discovery with Cloud for Good, we knew it was limited because it was only so much you can do in 3 months. But we want to make sure that this really has a variety of voices at the table and that we have the right subject matter experts. So we are assembling a number of important working groups so that there is that sense of ownership, and then we're making sure that this is really, we're thinking through all the details. And for the next 6 months, we're going to be focusing on standing up Education Cloud and not just a non-working proof of concept, but a real, true proof of concept in Experience Cloud that unites our student record. We are, continuing to map, continuing student research and mapping what that student experience looks like, and so what are the right messages that people need to hear at the right time. And really enhancing those communication preferences so that we can lean into mobile communications and not just be inundating and flooding our students' email inboxes. And then the really exciting work about consolidating campus event listings. So, whip through this as quickly as I could, because I'd love to see if there's any questions or any discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. That was awesome. There are a couple of questions. So we have one in the chat from David, and I'll highlight that. Can you see it, Chris?
Okay, great question. So what we did was, Cloud for Good was really flexible working with us. We had 3 different groups that had some leftover ARPA funds, and nobody had enough to cover a managed services engagement. So we pooled our money. And then that was also, looking back, that was a really great kind of early starting governance experience, because it put some of our leaders together on campus, and we kind of figured out, okay, so how are we going to do this? So it was a wonderful testing ground for a lot of the work that we're starting to do now on a bigger scale.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to flip over to the Q&A. There's a couple more there. Here's one from Vicky.
Okay, so what does our Salesforce team look like? Skills, number of staff. Okay, so we have a small but mighty group in IT we have, I would say, a super core group of like administrators that there's about 4 of them. We also have a very, very involved an architect who is not just looking at Salesforce, but we spend a lot of time with them on Salesforce. And then on my side of the house in university relations, we have a dedicated team of, we're now 8 that are doing nothing but Marketing Cloud and helping with best practices, Marketing Cloud and recruitment for that matter, actually, to helping with, how do we have best practices out there? How do we provision licenses? We have a really involved training and provisioning process. And we don't just, Marketing Cloud is a pretty big tool, so our team does not just kind of provision and kind of help teach to fish, although that's a big part of what we do. We also, for those groups who may not be the best candidate for Marketing Cloud, but we no longer want folks to have random kind of MailChimps out there, we're sending messages on their behalf. And we're also in the process of going through RFPs right now to continue our work.
A couple more from Vicki. Here's another one.
Not yet. That remains to be seen. That is kind of what's coming up next. And we use Delboomi, so I think it also still remains, we're really thinking about this as a layer of engagement and student engagement layer. So, maybe we don't have to deprecate systems underneath, we don't necessarily, if we can, and somebody has a functioning system and it can continue to work happily and we can move the data around, then great. But what we are being, our vision really is that is simplified and seamless for the student.
Yeah, and one more.
Does our phase research approach include the AI plans we use the data cloud? AI Einstein, yes. Data cloud remains to be seen. Trying to figure that out now. It's certainly on the table.
Great. I think that was it as far as questions. Chris, that was a lot of content in a short amount of time. Thank you so much. Great job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. And there's a couple of links there if you want to see more about UMass Amherst. Thanks so much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.